Hey guys, another episode of 100% Orange Juice. We'll be doing Midnight equals Kemonomimi again. And this time, we will play as Sora, who is a character from her own series called Sora. I believe this series is what is considered to be some kind of spiritual successor to the Suguri series. Sora has 4 HP, 1 attack, 0 defense, and +1 evasion. So in terms of combat stats, her only negative stat is -1 health from the default of 5. So that is pretty good. And her hyper card is also one of the best in the game. Extraordinary Specs allows you to roll 6 for movement, battle, bonus, and drop. And what this essentially does is remove the element of random from a particular round of combat, essentially, or the element of random from the entire turn. And this actually does carry over to your opponent's turns for that chapter. So if they're foolish enough to pick a fight with you, then you're gonna be rolling 6s all over their faces. So we're just gonna finish building our deck here and jump right into it. We'll be playing against QP, Yuki, and Aru again, as this bonus stage is representative of the QP shooting characters. I think we will immediately go here and fight QP. With our +1 attack stat, we really want to use this as much as possible to get into combat against the less combat-oriented characters like QP and Aru. Yuki actually takes 3 damage from QP, so she's in range of us knocking her out. And we were very fortunate enough to start with our hyper card at the start of the game. If no one uses a gift exchange or a trap card that makes us discard cards, we can make some good things happen later on with it. As you can see, Sora's +1 evasion allows her to dodge a lot of the small hits, and due to her having no negative defense, just a neutral defense, she can easily take the large hits using the defend option as well. So I really consider Sora to be a high tier character if we're going in terms of tier list and such. But again, since the game is very random number generated oriented, it's hard to really quantify tier lists. And you can see through the charity effect of the field, we drew a second hyper card. We won't be able to use these until we're level 3 though, but they're good to have on hand, assuming no one takes them from us through gift exchange. So QP is gonna fight this duck and get knocked out by the duck. Yuki will be the first to level 2. We're just gonna go move along. I think we're gonna discard the flamethrower. And we have a super all-out mode that we can use to perhaps gimp someone later on. We're gonna go into some more combat, fight this duck, and the duck didn't stand a chance. So we're at 21 stars and 1 win. Not too bad at this point of the game. Aru's gonna fight a duck, but I think the duck has the upper hand. So we will get more bonus stars. And we're close. Actually, we're pretty far off from our own lollipop, so we'll probably have to rely on landing on someone else's. Charity activates, and we have 4 cards in our hand. We can't use any of them, so we're just gonna discard. Discard Exchange at the end. Exchange is a powerful card, but again, I don't want to risk the potential for it backfiring on us. My philosophy for this game is do a low-risk, high-reward strategy, and most of the time that involves either stockpiling stars if you are not a combat character, or if you are a combat character, getting into as much combat as possible. Since usually having the first strike on the enemy when you have a +1 attack or +2 attack, for example, usually puts your opponent in a pretty bad position. So we only do 1 damage to the chicken though, but we can easily evade anything that's an attack value of 2 or lower. So we will move along. And we did get to level 3, but we're not quite there yet for level 4. And we can use our hypercard now, but I don't see a very good opportunity to do so yet. Instead, we're just going to warp around. This puts us in front of QP, which is not the end of the world. So we're gonna defend this, and then we're gonna retaliate and knock her out. Now, if we were put in front of Yuki instead, that would have been a much worse situation. So the duck manages to survive Aru's attack. And we drew a Saki's cookie from the charity, so we'll use it immediately to get back to full health. And then we draw our 3rd extraordinary specs. So at this point, we have 3 of them in our hand, and as long as no one gift exchanges our hand away, we can really use these to make some powerful plays later on. We're gonna fight Aru. Aru's gonna use a +2 evasion, so she'll evade that easily, but we'll simply evade her attack. So, what do I want to do with these extraordinary specs card? Well, I perceive Yuki to be the most threatening player to hinder our success. So, I really want to use these extraordinary specs to fight Yuki and knock her out any chance I can get. Because the other 2 characters right now are they're focused on gaining stars rather than trying to get kills. And we take 2 damage from QP actually. We get 1 damage in return. That's not too big of a deal. Already used Extend, but Extend is simply a worse version of QP's Hyper because although you do get the revival passive, you don't get the part where you lose no stars for losing in combat. So we're gonna try to kill the Sentinel, which we do. And let's see if QP chases us. She does, and that's a pretty smart move on her part. So, we have to get a... If we evade, we have to get 5 or 6. But if we defend, we only need to get 3 or higher. So we'll defend, and we take 1 damage, and retaliate with 2 of our own. And QP also knocks out the Sentinel. So we're in a pretty bad position. Because we really need to get away from QP. But I don't really want to use extraordinary specs for that. So instead we're just gonna get knocked out by this boss. And I'm perfectly fine with that. That puts us at 50 stars. We need 70 for our next level. A gamble is used by Yuki, knocking herself out. Aru's gonna fight a duck. This duck's gonna do tons of damage. Well, 1 is a ton. In some languages. Probably not English. Probably not, any either, but... That's besides the point. A lot of passive play going on right now. Just seeing if I can make anything powerful with my extraordinary specs, but no one is in the vicinity for me to abuse it, so just gonna mosey along. So Yuki is the first to reach level 4. Battlefield effect is on. We warp back to our previous position, so we're not really making any forward progress. Yuki used another gamble card and it targeted herself again. So she really lost those two gambles. We drew Holy Knight from the cherries, so we'll use that immediately. And then we'll just roll. Unfortunately, we land on a dangerous pudding, skipping our next turn, but that's not too big of a deal. Aru is behind us, so if she's foolish enough to get into combat with us, we could potentially knock her out in the counterattack. Kyubi got knocked out by the duck. Aru used Holy Knight again. And Aru is gonna avoid the Sentinel's attack. So since our turn is skipped, we can't really jump onto Aru. And Yuki goes in the other direction, so that's unfortunate. Aru reaches level 4. And now I can actually show you the power of extraordinary specs, because this is exactly 6, so we're gonna use extraordinary specs to get on this lollipop, knock out Aru potentially, and then level up all in the same roll. So watch. This will be a 6. We'll fight Aru. This will be a 6. We knock Aru out, and then we get enough stars to get to the next Norma, and we check the Norma because we are on the lollipop. So you can see how powerful the extraordinary specs hyper card can be when used in the proper situation. I have 2 more of them, so I'm gonna be very opportunist in looking out for potential kills. We're gonna go teleport because I don't want to fight the boss this early. QP's gonna fight us, and that's perfectly fine. We'll take 2 damage, retaliate with 1, and QP's gonna teleport away. We're at 2 health. And Aru used the presents for you, her hyper card, which makes everyone draw to 3 cards, and she gets 10 stars for each card drawn. It's a really low tier hyper card because it simply gives your opponent more resources to work with. So QP reaches level 3. Yuki is knocked out for the turn. Aru used the super all-out mode card. Can we make anything cool happen with our extraordinary specs? Yeah. We'll use extraordinary specs. That'll cost us 30, and then we'll roll 6. We're gonna fight Aru. And then we don't need to use Final Battle because I think with the +3 attack by default, we can end this already. In one go. Even though Aru did use her own Final Battle, which in my opinion was just a waste of stars. But perhaps it was a strategic waste of stars because that prevented me from gaining them. So we will just continue along. We'll fight the boss, and I think the boss will knock us out. That's fine. It's a lot better that the boss knocks us out than any of the other characters. And we have 1 more extraordinary specs, which we could potentially use to kill the boss later on. Instead, we're gonna stay dead for a little bit. See if he actually rolls a 10 value, and the boss is left 1 HP, so we really want to gun for the boss at this point. Gift exchange is used, so that's pretty unfortunate because we lost our extraordinary specs and we don't really know who has it. Based on probability, Yuki has 3 cards, so it's most likely she's the one with extraordinary specs. And indeed, that is what it is the case. So Yuki's gonna use extraordinary specs to do what I was planning to do, to KO the boss with. So that was unfortunate. But that's one of the reasons why I really hate the gift exchange card, because it really messes up my plans. We're gonna use this. We're gonna use this shield card actually. I really want to survive this, and we survive with 1 health, so that Yuki will probably be knocked out by the boss. I really wanted to survive because I didn't want to give Yuki any more kills or stars to work with. Okay. QP and Aru still have the super all-out mode effect on them, so probably won't use that yet. We're gonna go here. We'll trigger the trap card. And we lost half our stars, but that's okay. Aru is still not at 120 stars yet, so that's fine. We have to fight QP, even though she has +2 attack. Because otherwise she would just get us next turn. Aru is still short of stars for level 5, but QP is in a pretty good position to win this game. She's at level 5 with 202 stars. So unless we catch up to her and knock her out, she's gonna be rushing for the exit, essentially. We will roll. And unfortunately we land on a pudding card, which means we're gonna lose our next turn. QP is gonna warp back here, so that'll delay her getting to a lollipop, but we really wanted to be behind QP so we could fight her. Aru might fight. No, Aru instead passes by QP and takes 1 damage from the boss. So QP is gonna fight the boss, and hopefully, yes, QP gets knocked out by the boss, so that'll delay her final level. Flamethrower is actually used to KO Aru since she has no cards in her hand. I think at this point we have to use Super All-Out mode and fight Yuki. So we will do that. And we managed to knock out Yuki before she could KO us in the counterattack. So now we're gonna use Saki's Cookie to heal 1 health. And then we're gonna mosey along. So QP has been delayed from her final victory condition for a bit. And now we're in a position to potentially catch back up. Aru does 1 damage to the boss, and then takes 1 damage in return. Let's see. No one has a Super All-Out mode active anymore. We land on a lollipop, which is good. But we are forced to discard a card and give it to someone else. And we're gonna go for 200 more stars. And this puts us very close to winning. As long as we can, we'll get 200 stars at the beginning of this turn. And then if we roll, we don't even have to roll. We have to roll 4 or higher. Then we fight Aru, and then we'll win through the. But instead we rolled too low. But on the flip side, we rolled high enough to KO the boss. So we're at 422 stars. So that's a crazy amount to cash out on. I predict as long as we can make 1 more loop around, we'll be able to it'll be our victory essentially. So survival is our most important aspect right now, but with such a high value from the duck, probably gonna be knocked out. QP used the pudding card to fully restore her health. The good news is that since we knocked out that boss, even losing half our stars means we're still at over 200, and we revive, so that's good. I think Yuki's gonna try to chase me and fight me, because that's her only way of winning at this point, since she went for the 15 wins condition. And we do land on the lollipop, so this will be Sora's victory, and we managed to beat the extra stage of a QP scenario. In the process, we also managed to showcase 2 new characters. In the last episode, we showcased Hime, who is quite a control-based character with her Binding Chain hypercard, and Sora is more of a aggressive character due to her extraordinary specs, allowing her to always roll 6 per turn. And so you can see all these bonuses we get. 1381. And now that we've done this, you might think, oh, this game is over. This is far from over, because let's just go into our shop, and you can see in our shop, we'll be able to buy some new characters, and these characters are the characters from the other 3 storylines. So we'll buy Suguri, we'll buy Mark, and we'll buy Kai. And we've also played enough on this file to buy Mary Popo. We might showcase her in another extra stage. But we're just going to, in the next episode, probably play through another character's scenario, the first chapter of their scenario. And I'm just flipping through things here. And the only thing that we can do left with our money, we can buy stages, and these stages are for online play and such. But there's no point buying any stages, since you essentially unlock them if you play enough of the campaign mode. With our remaining funds, I think we're just gonna buy some more expansion packs. We're gonna get some new cards to add to our collection. We already pulled a lot of new cards since on this file I haven't been buying many cards. I haven't found a necessity to. So we'll do this until like 2000, and we'll send the rest on the base pack, because there's still some rares, I believe, that I'm missing from the base pack. It might be nice to get some more copies of certain cards. I'm pretty unlucky so far. We've only gotten commons and uncommons. Not a single rare from all these pulls. But that's just the way buying packs is sometimes. So next time we'll be doing one of these other scenarios. As you can see, now that you've bought the characters and beaten QP scenario, you have unlocked the other 3 routes. And these stories are vastly different from the QP scenario. Although I believe they all converge. Essentially the plot is the same. Mary Popo steals some stuff, and then we chase after Mary Popo. But stories don't actually converge, it's more like alternate timelines, as you'll notice once we play through another one in the next episode. But for now, that'll be it from me. Thanks for watching. I hope you join me next time in another episode of 100% Orange Juice. Castella out.